Good afternoon everyone, this is Rashwin, the Asian mechanic guy, and for today guys, we got this 2004 Mitsubishi Galant. Complaint of this car, it cranks but it won't start. So for today guys, we are going to diagnose this car and we will try to fix it today. So without further ado guys, let's get started. Alright guys, we are going to confirm the complaint. So again, complaint of this car, it cranks but it won't start. So let's try to start this car. So guys, it seems think battery is good. Let me just turn that off. Okay guys, let's try to start it or crank it. As you can see, it cranks but it won't start. And as you can see guys, also in here, the RPM, take a look on the RPM, it's not moving. So there is an evidence that there's no signal for the RPM. And also guys, RPM is connected also to your crank sensor. So I need to hook up my OBD scanner and let's see if we had a code. And guys, I already hook up my OBD scanner, and as you can see guys, we got a code. It's a P0340, which is the camshaft position sensor A. And let's check the other one, the same thing. So guys, we need to check this camshaft position sensor. So at least we have a starting point. So let's open the hood and let's go check this. Where's this camshaft position sensor A? And guys, before we go under the hood, we're just gonna summarize what we saw here. And as we all know, this car has crank but no starts. And then we also notice, number one, it has no RPM, and RPM is related also to our crankshaft position sensor at the same time with our camshaft position sensor. And it really makes sense that our OBD scanner had a code, in which is the P0340, which is the camshaft position sensor. So it really makes sense that we don't have an RPM because we had a allegedly faulty camshaft position sensor. And also guys, before we will conclude that this sensor is faulty, we need to do some wiring integrity or wiring test for the camshaft position sensor. And guys, in here number 3, I made a simple diagram of how camshaft position sensor and also how crankshaft position sensor work. So as you can see here guys, let's say this is our PCM. So this mostly for this sensor, it has 3 wire. So the first wire is our power feed. So in our power feed, it gives us mostly 5 volts to 12 volts, in between 5 volts to 12 volts. And then our signal, which is mostly is on the middle, it has a 5 volts, and then our gram. So what happens that guys, let's say this is our gear on our camshaft. So every time it rotates, there's a circuit in here that pull these 5 bolts to 0 bolts to 5 bolts. So if we have only like a lab scope, we can see a square wave. So every time this turns, this will fluctuate from 0 volt to 5 volts. So that's how, you know, this sensor works, this wiring works. And the way we test this, so I'm just gonna give you a simple simple way to test the integrity of the wire. Just disconnect this wire, this connection, and then this wire should have a 5 volts to 12 volts. This wire should have a 5 volts, and this one has a 0 volts. I guess that's the best thing that we need to do. We don't need to like test this signal wire because we don't have lab scope. I can provide lab scope, but you know, if you are only like a DIY, you don't need that. But as for us, a mechanic, we have to do it in order to like 100% check if this, you know, sensor is faulty. But again, by this evidence, no RPM, the car cranks but no start, it has no RPM, and then it has a code. I mean, like 80% your crankshaft, I mean your camshaft position sensor is faulty or bad. So guys, let's go to under the hood, and let's check the integrity of the wire. So there should be a 5 volts to 12 volts in one wire, and then there should be a 5 volts in one wire, and then 0 volts in one wire. So this is your ground. Okay guys, I hope you understand that. So let's go under the hood and check the integrity of the wire. Right guys, we are here under the hood, and this is your camshaft position sensor. And guys, like I said a while ago, it has 3 wire. So it's red, green, and brown. So let's disconnect this. And again guys, what we are looking in here is that unplug this, check the wire if it has a 5 to 12 volts for the power feed, 5 volts for the signal, and 0 volts for the ground. And if those voltage is we can see those voltage in this wire, then we can say the wiring integrity is good, and we need to replace the sensor. So that's what we are going to do guys. So guys, I got a voltmeter here. So black leads on the negative cable, then we set it on voltage. Let's see if we had around 12 volts in here. So we got 11.76. It's a little bit low, but that's okay. So now we are going to check first the red one. So the red one, then I'm gonna show it to you guys. We got, hold on, it has 1172. So that's probably our power feed. So that's good. The one on the middle, we had, hold on, so in the middle we got 5.031. So like I said, on the middle that should be our signal. And then the last wire, we should have 0 volt, 0.8. So guys, we already checked the wire, and then the wire is good. We got the power feed, which is 11 something, 11 volts. That's the power, that's our power feed. And then the one on the middle, it has 5 volts. And then the brown one, it has a 0 volt, 0.9. So we confirmed that our wire integrity is good. So what should be the problem? It's the sensor. So guys, we are going to replace the sensor, and then let's try to start the car. It will start. Alright guys, before we are going to replace this sensor, there's one more test that we need to do by checking this sensor itself. So the way I check this sensor, guys, key on, okay, make sure the key is on, and then I had a voltmeter, so negative leads, this is my voltmeter, then the red leads there connected to the blue, and then it was back probe on the middle one, the blue one. I hope you could see it, the blue one, okay guys, because that's our signal. So remember guys, there were 3 wire here. I think the red one is the 11 volts something, and then the middle one is 5 volts, and then the brown one is the ground. So what we are going to do is make an artificial gear. So again guys, this is a magnet sensor. So when we put a metal in here, it will pull that 5 volt signal. There's a magnetic circuit in here. So what we're going to do is get a metal and then touch with it in here, and let's see if there's a movement. If there's a 0 volt to 5 volts, because again guys, this is 5 volt signal, okay. So if there's a 5 volts and then it will fluctuate to 0 volts, then the sensor is good. Then we have to, you know, exclude this, and then we should diagnose this car more. But then if this the signal, or there's no movement in the, in our voltmeter, then we will confirm and conclude that this sensor is bad. So guys, this is my multimeter, and then I had my metal in here, so we're just gonna tap it, and then let's see if there's a movement. See, oh, did you see that guys? 0. Then when I remove it, it went to 5. So guys, this sensor is good. Holy cow, I think we had a different problem guys. See that? 0, then it will 0, then it become 5 volts. 0, then 5 volts. Whoa. So it's confirmed guys, this sensor is good. So guys, I think there's a different problem with this car. It seems like our sensor is good, our wiring too is good. So you know what, let's just put it back, and then I'm going to crank the car. Let's see if there's, you know, a movement. It should be, there should be a 0 volts to 5 volts, because there's only one left that I wanna check. It's the gear, if the gear is moving. Because if the gear is not moving, because the gap, if we're talking about the gap, this is, it fits well. When I removed this one, it was just push it in properly. It wasn't push up, push out. So so I'm just gonna um, crank the car, and then if the gear is moving, if the gear moves, there should be a fluctuation in here from 0 to 5 volts. Okay guys, let me review the video. Alright guys, I just reviewed the video, and guys I think we had a big problem. It was stuck on 5 volts, meaning the gear is not moving, the cam gear is not moving. So the sensor, it was like position in a steady gear, or a steady position, so it only reads 5 volts. It is not moving. So I guess guys, I think this car has a loose timing belt, or might even a broken timing belt, because guys, there's no fluctuation, there's no movement. You see that voltmeter, it's only stuck on 5 volts when I crank it. So meaning that sensor, it was like positioned into one position, so it's only reads 5 volts. But if the gear only moves, we could see a 0 volt to 5 volts fluctuation, or a movement. And right now guys, it's raining, so I think the best thing that I can do is just to remove the timing belt, the cover, and let's see if the belt is loose or broken. Alright guys, I'm going to remove this timing belt cover. Alright, put it here. Guys, okay, I think is that it. Okay. All right guys. Oh, all right guys, I found the problem guys. No wonder, shoot, we got a loose timing belt. Oh, no wonder that camshaft position sensor, it was stuck on 5 volts. Holy crap. Shoot guys, we got a broken timing belt. So it's not the camshaft position sensor, it's a broken timing belt. What happened is that this gear is not moving anymore, so your gear from here is not moving, so your sensor is just positioned into probably in a single, probably somewhere in a teeth of the gear. So it was stuck on the on the 5 volts signal. So even though we crank it, this gear is not moving, so for sure the belt in here is not moving too. I mean the gear in here is not moving too. So that's it guys. I mean, it's not a camshaft position sensor, it's the it's a broken belt, it's a broken timing belt. Wow. Whew, it was a good diagnostic, guys. So that's how you diagnose a